Hi, everybody. Welcome to AI for ROI. We're so excited to kick off this podcast. June and I have spent a lot of time thinking about what is needed out in the marketplace. And I promise you that we're going to be bringing you new, fresh content. So there's so much noise in the ecosystem about AI. And I think as folks out in the business world trying to figure out what's important, one of the most common things I get asked from business leaders is, where do I go just to get educated and learn things about AI that are relevant to my business? So, we are absolutely hoping to be that place for you. And we'll talk a little bit today about our vision and our goals for the podcast and how excited we are to support you and get your feedback for what kind of content you're going to want to hear from us. But before we dive into any of that, let's spend a little time so you can get to know us. June, take it away. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thanks for a very warm intro, Gina. I couldn't agree with you more that I feel AI is just getting bombarded on us every single week, and there's new stuff coming out every single day. And I'm excited to kind of kick this off today with you. I met you at a conference about 6 months ago, and we saw in person how many booths were just, had AI everywhere, right? And I've been working in the startup space for about 15 years now. I've also worked at a big company like Microsoft for about 5 years, but now back at a startup called Tailor, where we do headless ERP. I'm the VP of marketing there. And in my role, I had the great opportunity of working with, leading startups that are within the space, as well as being an advisor for some startups that I'm very passionate about as well. So that's a little bit about me and what I do. But I think, Gina, over to you. You work over at Google, you're a GSI leader. Can you tell our friends a little bit more about your day to day?
Sure, sure. Thanks. I'm a managing director at Google, and my role is to lead and support the team working with the largest consulting companies in the world and helping them really adopt and utilize Google technology and leverage Google technologies for their customers. And so, in this role, I have the luxury of getting to see over 4,000 projects that Google is working on across the entire ecosystem and all the impact that those projects are having on our customers. And really, most importantly, and what I hope to share on this podcast is the trends that I'm seeing out in the industry across this scale. And there's just so much impact being created by AI right now that I want to share those learnings with our audience. So I've been at Google for 4 years now and about 25, 30 years, something crazy long in technology. Before that, with Accenture, was a managing director there, leading one of the sales teams for one of the market units. So great exposure to kind of all industries and won't profess to be an expert in any of them, but lots of experience in all of them. And so through this podcast, look to bring on a lot of those folks that we've had interactions with who are going to share how they are using AI for ROI. But before we dive into that and spending some time, June, maybe I think it'd be helpful just to give a little bit more perspective on why you really wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that both you and I, we're on the road a lot. Talk to a lot of people, and we figure out what the real, pardon the pun, but the ROI on why they're doing what they're doing, right? Where to place the bets on that metaphorical roulette table, because there's a lot of things happening every single week, like I mentioned before. It's really hard to kind of keep up with not only is what's coming down the pipe, but what your competitors doing, how they're leveraging these different tools today, and what kind of like actual measurable results are happening, how they're tracking that data. I think those are all the cool reasons why I'm interested in doing this podcast. And also being around with a lot of leading startups, I hope to bring them into the conversation as well. From product image generation, which I'm seeing, which is taking off like wildfire, to AI coding agents that are being utilized every single day. I think it'd be a great kind of dichotomy between what these small startups are bringing to the table, as well as what you're going to bring down the pipe with the big enterprise corporate companies on what they're investing in and why they're investing in that, and kind of sharing that roadmap together so our audience could be better utilized to pick and choose the tools that they'll need today to actually get the results that they want for tomorrow. So that's a little bit about
Yeah.
me and why I want to kind of bring up this startup angle in. But more about you, Gina. I know you work with, Fortune 500 companies as well as leading agencies. I'm curious, with your, long breadth of experience for over 20 to 25 years, what are you most interested in bringing to the table?
Yeah. I think when I'm out in the marketplace talking to customers, sitting on airplanes with executives, right? I get asked, folks aren't always about technology. The CXO suite is not all interested in technology. The CXO suite is interested in ROI. And historically, they don't really care how they get there. They don't want to spend the time getting in the weeds on the technology. They want to know what services, what functionality they can utilize to get ROI, to optimize their business, to drive greater revenues. So I get asked all the time, kind of what podcast should I listen to? What resources are out there? And I'm just seeing so much around the technology. I listen to so many podcasts and digest it. And all they're talking about is just the race on the LLMs front, who's getting bigger and better and faster this week. And then next week, someone's leapfrogging them. And, the reality is the technology is moving faster than we've ever seen in our lifetime. I'm old, and so I was around and when the internet was just taking off in 95 at the real enterprise level. And I feel the impact that AI is going to generate is 100x of that. And it's going to transform every aspect of business, front office, back office. And if companies aren't thinking about AI, kind of 24/7, they're going to be in trouble. So I want to focus on and help executives get the nuggets of today. Where is AI generating ROI? Where in the system is that happening? And how do we start thinking about that? And yes, it may be point solutions. And we're going to spend, I think, Gene and I have been kind of curating the content here. We're going to spend some time on specific point solutions over the next little bit of time. But then hopefully the aperture will widen and we'll start seeing more enterprise level solutions being deployed. And we'll be able to share that ROI of those enterprise solutions with you. So it is, we want to be the curators of content for you as it relates to how does AI generate ROI that you can take advantage of. So we're going to not spend a ton of time on technology for technology's sake. Every single one of our episodes is going to tie back to blah, blah, blah. And how is that going to generate ROI for our customers or for ourselves? So that's why people are going to want to listen to this podcast. So that's what we're excited about. And yeah, we will go out there and be curating content and recommending other podcasts that we're hearing that are generating things and hopefully be one source of great truth for you in that ROI space. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And June, I know you touched on the fact that you really are focusing about it from the startup lens. Tell us a little bit more about that for the listeners who are interested and who may be in startups, why they'd want to hear from you. Us.
Yeah, thanks for that great intro into startups. I have the pleasure of working for a Y Combinator backed startup. If you folks don't know what Y Combinator is a big startup incubator based in Silicon Valley. They went through companies like Airbnb, Stripe, Coinbase. Last CEO of Open of Y Combinator is Sam Altman from Open AI. So there's a good pedigree of great startups coming from there, great Silicon Valley minds that are kind of coming together into fruition into this AI race, right? So a lot of startups are obviously working on LLMs, as you mentioned, Gina, but also things like, I feel like the hot thing this year is agentic workflows and agents, right? So I know a lot of startups are kind of investing in that, as well as your big enterprise and corporate companies as well. So I think that'll be very interesting to hear about and to talk to these leading startups that are working on this multi-agentic workflows, how agents are really kind of, pairing along with humans and supercharging their abilities. I think that's very interesting to see, as well as seeing how startups are running really fast because usually they don't have a board to report to or anything like that, right? They really want to get their target ICP down in order to really give that ROI to their target RCP and not just have this wide shotgun approach. So that's what I'm really interested in bringing to the table as well, is really focus in startups that are attacking, you know, one or two big challenges that we have in the AI space and how that works in concert with the bigger companies like a Google or Apple or Amazon. I think there's a good dichotomy there that we could share and really educate our listeners on how both big startups and big tech is working together into the race of getting ROI into their AI workflows. So that's why I'm excited about to be here to really share the stage with you, Gina, and bring in the perspective of startups, as well as hearing from you, the big enterprise that are coming into play as well.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I'm excited about, and June and I spent a lot of time talking about just where the puck is going, right? And how the startups will impact where the puck is going, how the startups are driving where the puck is going, or even creating the space to where the puck is going. And I think there's just going to be more and more opportunities for enterprises to be learning from the startups in this way, and an appetite for enterprises to be, I'll say, more open to hearing about what startups are doing. Typically the enterprises don't want to work with startups until it's a well-established product or solution, but they don't have that luxury in this environment. So I think it's just going to be a great combination where our enterprise listeners can really learn from what's happening in the startup space, and again, pick up those nuggets, start seeing the trends and connecting the dots of what's coming down the pipe. And then on the flip side, right, the startup folks can see and learn what is the appetite of the enterprise customers and how they may need to be shifting or adopting their products to stay ahead of competitors. Because I think that's one of the most interesting things right now, right, June, is that a startup is getting started today, but just your basic AI may very shortly already deliver or very soon deliver what value that startup thought they were bringing to the market. The basic AI products may just do that inherently. So I think the landscape is changing so quickly here. We've got a great service to deliver to the audience in terms of that front.
Absolutely.
So
And
yeah, please go ahead.
speaking of changing landscapes and the kind of synergy between big enterprise and startups, Gina, I think we had a great conversation with Pete. Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about Pete and what's coming on our next episode?
Sure, sure. So we've got a curated list of amazing speakers coming down. Some big companies, some small companies, all sharing how they are, whichever the topic is going to be, how that is impacting and delivering ROI for customers. So we'll stay laser focused on that. That's our commitment to you. Super excited about our first guest, who's Pete Blackshaw. And Pete is the CEO of BrandRank.ai. I met up with Pete, who's had multiple work experiences in enterprise customers in the CXO suite in roles across multiple companies, CPG specifically. I'll let Pete tell his own background. But what I love about what his product is doing is the fundamental shift of how advertisers and marketers are going to be successful in what may be a non SEO, non search oriented world, and how you need to be getting your brands positioned in this new changing landscape when your SEO strategies are not going to be driving the ROI, are not going to be driving the impact that you're used to. And they're developing some really amazing tools, but more importantly, applying those tools to the market and helping marketers and delivering tangible ROI information. So I think it's going to be a great conversation. We've had a lot of early on conversations, and each week he's developing more and more products and tools and research around the space of how marketers need to be thinking differently in the AI, in the new AI landscape. So we'll be putting out podcasts. Please check out our website, which is aiforroi.com. We'll put that up in the screen so you can see that. And then also, we'll be posting blogs weekly too. While we can only discuss and share so much content on these podcasts since we both still have our full-time real jobs, we're doing this for fun, and in service of all of you. But in the background, there will be blogs where we're getting posted. And when we're seeing information and ROI type scenarios we think you'll be interested in, we'll share those with you. And we really want to create a community. So please react to those articles, the information we're publishing, the links we're sharing. If there's things you want to pile on and think are additional value, we'd love to hear from you on that one. So with that, we'll close out our first episode here officially. Thanks, June.
All right.
And just I want to publicly thank June. He's been just a great partner as we've gotten this kicked off, and we're going to continue to challenge each other and have great discussions both amongst ourselves and then with the guests we bring on. So please join us on this ride. June, any closing words from you?
Yeah, I think you summarized that perfectly. I'm really excited for you to be my partner, learn from you, grow with you, and actually just share some awesome use cases like with Pete and his company. I think they're also backed by Show Sandberg, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Is that right?
correct.
So he's doing some great stuff and excited to see the next episode. But until then, we're really, I think, just focused on sharing and filtering out all the AI stuff that's going on in the world and how that your company can actually get ROI from using specific tools. So until next time, thanks again, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Bye bye.